Your data must be digital. Every QC manager needs to understand that they know, they might not readily admit it, but they know deep inside their heart that somewhere in their department or in their company, there are still processes that are run on paper or in Excel. Excel is this favorite thing of people. Some pretend that it's not paper. Well, it's kind of like paper on steroids, if you think about it, because your Excel files usually do not follow any strict naming guidelines and retention guidelines. And so they can get lost. They can get corrupt. Anything can happen, right? And the data that goes into Excel most of the time is not validated, because validation of data in Excel is difficult to maintain. So we know that. 90% of you listening probably just have people keying in something in Excel that does not get validated at all, right? So going back to Excel and paper, if you have that information captured as part of a regular process every day, let me give you an example. You have a QA technician walking the floor and they have the clipboard, and on the clipboard, they're checking things. So in a food processing facility, when it's like margarine production, they would be looking at the flake thickness and they check and say, yeah, in this production run right now, the flake thickness is good. But that's all on paper. The chatbot does not know what's on paper until that information is transferred. But if anybody transfers information from paper into the system, there are some companies that do that. That is not real-time information anymore. That information may be outdated and not so helpful. So now think about that same QA technician walking around with a tablet or a phone or Chromebook, whatever it is that is convenient for them. And they capture the information about that flake thickness in real time, and it goes and gets saved into the database. Now, if the chatbot is connected to that chatbot can actually give you insights about this, about what's going on. So this is very important. If you have information on paper, the modern technology does not know about it. If you have information in Excel, most of the time, the modern technology doesn't know about it, because 99% of Excel data is not integrated with any other data sources, such that as soon as you put something into Excel, it gets published to a database. Most people don't do that. It is doable, but it's cumbersome and difficult, so most people don't do it. And so I want you, the QC managers, to think about that your data must be digital. Take the example of sanitation records. You're coming into the lab, you need to know that the equipment has been cleaned. And you may want to ask a chatbot, oh, is this liquid chromatography equipment, is it clean? Is it ready for use? You won't know the answer to that until all your sanitation information is tracked digitally. So this is very big and very important. And because quality managers care about compliance and safety and standard operating procedures, they make good agents of change. Once you understand that data must be digital, you are in a good position to go talk to the management of the department, of the plant, of the company about your digital transformation strategy. There needs to be a push, and it usually works better when it comes from the ground up. And so push for going digital. Your data must be digital to be accessible by this new technology. Once it is digital, all your favorite projects or all your favorite types of data are now possible to get efficiencies in through the use of these AI chatbots. Whether it's sanitation records, training records, you have all sorts of compliance training for quality lab personnel, and you can just come into work and say, hey, who are my employees that are still lacking this kind of training? Who is behind on this? And the chatbot will tell you that. But for it to tell you that quickly, without you going anywhere, that information must be digital. So quality managers, Let this be a wake-up call. There's a lot of you who know that we still have stuff on paper and in Excel, and we need to deal with that. Once you deal with that, you'll be set up for success with the 5 things that I just mentioned.